Welcome back to Positive Talk Radio for a Thursday. That must mean it's Coach's Day here on KKNW 1150 AM. My name is Kevin. I'm your host. And over there is Pam Hillinger.
Hillinger, you got it right.
I know. The first time it was Hellinger. And,
Yeah.
and she doesn't like to be in hell.
No.
Hillinger is much better.
Yes, that's the name.
And she is our resident coach. And she brings, on every Thursday, she brings other coaches and to help us learn how we can handle our lives a little bit more effectively, because our friends and family generally don't tell us the truth about such things anyway. So she's brought.
I've got Kathy Powell here, and Kathy Powell is president, owner, and founder of her company called Powerfully Organized, and she is a certified business coach and a personal coach, also certified personal coach, and an organizing productivity consultant. And you teach teleclasses, and you offer classes in decluttering your life and finding anything in 5 minutes. I saw that on there.
5 seconds.
Oh, 5 seconds. Oh my gosh.
Really? I was darned impressed with the 5 minutes.
I was too.
If you could find something in 5 seconds, that would be wonderful.
I have a tool that enables you to do that.
Oh, wonderful. First of all, Kathy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome. How did you get into the coaching business? Where did you come from?
I started in 1995 as an organizing and productivity consultant, and I got pretty frustrated my first year in business because I discovered that my clients would get organized and then they would get unorganized again. And I liken the work that I do to an iceberg. The tip of the iceberg is the physical part that we can organize and we can see, and the part under the waterline is the mental part of being organized. Coaching really ties in very well with that, because that's what we do as coaches, is to help people sort out their priorities and what's getting in the way, and help them clarify their intentions and what the next action steps are to help them get unstuck. After having been in business for a year, I decided to pursue coaching because I recognized that there were some tools available to me if I became a coach that I didn't have as a productivity consultant, and I really needed those tools to help my clients to change some habits.
A productivity consultant, what exactly do you do as a productivity consultant?
Help people get clear about what it is that's most important in their lives. And if we're working in their work environment, we can take a look at that. Most of the time, we really look at their whole life. It's difficult to parcel out personal and business. I specialize in working with medical professionals and also with small business owners. So typically, I will go into their office. We spend some time talking to clarify what are the priorities. Usually what people say is most important and what they actually do are not the same.
Well, duh. Yeah. Well, now let me ask you, you work with medical professionals?
Yes, I do.
So like doctors and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Can you do anything about their handwriting?
No.
Oh.
That's hardwired. They learn that in medical school.
I know.
Yeah.
I think that's a class they take. Now, but let me ask you, take a doctor, for example. They are very focused on their patients, and they're not interested necessarily in the organization behind talking to their patients and working and practicing medicine. How do you help somebody become more well-rounded?
They become interested in getting organized when it gets in the way. So they don't call me until it's a problem. And usually it's a problem that other people around them have identified for months or years. Mm-hmm. And now they're saying, I got to do something about this. I can't keep going on like this. The cost to them to not get organized is so great that they decide that it's time to do something about it. And that's when they call me.
And she's got some wonderful before and after pictures on your website that really illustrate that.
And that is a medical professional's private office on my website.
I'll bet that the before picture was a lot different than the after picture.
Yes, it is.
But it's also not about organizing a desk either, is it?
It goes far beyond that. It goes beneath the waterline of that iceberg to really looking at priorities and organizing your time, your thoughts, your energy, and your space.
So you actually help them. Now, if they want to change, honestly change, it takes discipline to do that.
Absolutely.
And they have to have a plan. And so you help them define the plan, and obviously they have to provide the discipline.
They need the motivation.
Yeah.
And they need the commitment. And part of my job as a coach is to walk with them through that journey, to give them the support that they need as they make those changes, because it's hard for people to make changes. It's hard for me to make changes. And I have a coach myself, and my coach holds me accountable to doing what I say I want to do, which isn't always what I do. My coach calls me on it when I'm out of alignment with what I say is most important.
See, I really applaud you people who are coaches, because I it's just not in me to go do that. I can't hold people accountable necessarily. I suppose I could. I didn't when I was in management. But the reality is that you guys, you hold people's feet to the fire based upon what they say they want to do.
Yes, and I have their permission to hold them accountable. They're asking me to hold them accountable. Accountability with a coach is different from accountability with a friend, a loved one, a colleague, especially a supervisor, because there might be a little bit of judgment attached to that. With a coach, there is absolutely no room for judgment. That is not what we're about. We're not here to judge other people, to punish them, to make them feel bad. So, for example, this is a real common one. Health and fitness. Sometimes medical professionals don't do a very good job of taking care of themselves.
Because they're about taking care of everybody else.
Exactly. They spend all day talking about other people's needs and they neglect their own. So if a medical professional comes to a coaching call and says, I want to start an exercise program, we talk about what's next, what's getting in the way for them. If they're feeling stuck, they've been saying this for months perhaps, and they haven't done it. So it might be something as simple as their running shoes are uncomfortable and they need to buy a new pair of shoes. It might be that they're social people and they don't like exercising by themselves. My role as a coach is to help them understand what is the barrier to them moving forward and to taking that next step.
What do you do, just from a coaching standpoint, if somebody comes to you and says that they would like to get into better shape, they would like to work out better, but they're not enamored with working out. They physically, for a variety of reasons, maybe can't do what they used to be able to do, that they used to enjoy working out, and their business is such, and they have such a passion for it, and it is so all-consuming, and the demands of it, that they just don't have time. How do you help them organize that?
Well, typically they say they can't find the time, and none of us find time. We make time. And so it comes back to priorities. If the priority is high enough for you to take care of yourself, then you will make the time. That's about scheduling it in instead of just saying, I'm going to exercise 3 times for 1 hour in the coming week. Actually, what they typically say is, I'm going to start exercising this week, but there's nothing specific about it. And so I say, okay, how many times? And they say 3 times. For how long? 1 hour. Okay, when are you going to do it? Oh.
Let me check my day timer, I'll get back to you.
And so when you start getting that specific, and I'm asking them to be very clear with themselves about what their intention is, what's next, what's getting in the way, and when you get that specific, and then I make a request, coaches make requests, and requests are designed to help the client move something forward in their lives, and they have 3 choices with a request. They can accept, decline, or counteroffer. So if I say, I request that you make an appointment with yourself for 3 1-hour exercise appointments in the coming week, do you accept that request? And they can say yes, no, or I will commit to 2 times, whatever they want to do.
Okay, so at the end, the next week rolls around and they come on back and they only went once. Then what happens?
That happens quite often, actually,
bet.
where the intention and the commitment doesn't equal the activity. And that gives us an opportunity to take a look at it and say, gee, what got in the way? There's no judgment attached to that. We just look at it together. And they might say, well, that hour of the day just doesn't work for me. My pager goes off a lot then, and I ended up taking a call, and I just never made it to the gym. If those are the kinds of things that we have going on, we can look at what different time of day might you want to consider.
It's fine-tuning the blocks. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, Pam,
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
It seems to me like if you have some self-discipline and you can do it, you can do all this stuff by yourself. What gets in our way of why can't we stay organized enough to do all this stuff by ourselves?
I think that it comes down to feeling a pull with urgency, and there's a huge difference between urgency and importance. And we get it confused sometimes. We think that if something's urgent, that automatically means that it's important. It may be important to someone, but not necessarily to the person who's trying to move something forward.
So people end up filling our day with stuff that may or may not be relevant, giving what we say we want to do, be, or have, and rather than being able to step outside of ourselves to look at some of the things that we do. For instance, I'll give you an example. Every day I check my email 3, 4, 5 times a day. Do I have to? Should I? Maybe not. If I could cut that down, I could save myself 30 minutes, 45 minutes a day of not checking it at that particular time that I could then use for another activity. But I don't recognize that because I'm too immersed in it. And that's the role that you guys play.
Well, and it's interesting that you use the words should, have to. Language is very important in coaching. And part of what we do as coaches is to reflect back to our clients what they're saying and check in with them to see if that's what they really mean. When you say, I have to check my email or I should check my email X times a day, who says?
Well, there you are. And that would be my internal clock that says somebody emailed me, I have to get back to them right away. But that's not necessarily the case because there are days when I don't, and it doesn't bother anybody a bit.
Exactly.
So we are talking with Kathy Powell, and we are going to come right back from these messages with Kathy and Pam. You're listening to Positive Talk Radio here on KKNW 1150 AM. We'll be right back.